Well, the GOP primary is getting ugly as super PACs supporting former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis spending millions of dollars attacking each other. The man they're both ignoring, frontrunner Donald Trump. Mediaite reports that while the pro-Haley Stand for America super PAC has spent more than $3.5 million on anti-DeSantis messaging over the past 2 months, it's dedicated an astonishing $0 toward attacking Trump. $28 million reportedly spent on pro-Haley initiatives, while $25,000 spent on ads against President Joe Biden. The pro-DeSantis Never Back Down super PAC, meanwhile, has reportedly spent more than $4.5 million on messaging against Haley and $375,000 on messaging against Donald Trump.
The reticence to attack Trump has not gone unnoticed. Protest candidate and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie criticized Haley and DeSantis earlier this month as running for second place. As The Hill reported, Christie said, "I am the only candidate running against Donald Trump. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis seem to be running against each other for second place. Good for them." When Nikki Haley stands on the stage on Wednesday night and says Donald Trump was the right president for the right time, when Ron DeSantis continues to defend Donald Trump, you cannot beat someone unless you run against them.
I mean, easy for Chris Christie to say from fifth place. So let's not like his strategy is working.
Sure, but I mean, Robby, do you think in a world where all the Republican candidates were willing to be critical of Donald Trump and there wasn't this collective action problem, that they would diffuse the backlash against all of them, and it would just seem like a normal primary?
Their poll numbers would just be lower. I mean, that's the reality is that there's no attacking Trump doesn't work. It's not going to work. Republican voters love Trump, and he's going to be the candidate unless this very unique legal position he's in somehow develops in a way that he ultimately decides not to be the candidate, in which case running for second place is not a crazy strategy. Honestly, their strategy is, given the reality, now, a year ago it looked like maybe Ron DeSantis could overtake Trump. Trump's approval ratings were a little bit lower. DeSantis was riding the post-COVID high. It was before maybe all the legal issues came in and actually made Republicans rally to Trump even harder. It looked plausible. And maybe we didn't understand DeSantis' weakness as a candidate at that point. Now it looks like it's utterly impossible, virtually impossible. There's still some outsider shot that an early primary victory propels a DeSantis or a Haley or a Ramaswamy to some greater platform of media attention and support that they could get the nomination. It's not utterly impossible, but it's extremely unlikely. Trump will be the nominee, barring those legal issues, in which case running for second place is frankly not even a stupid strategy.
So what are all these super PAC ad spins about then?
Well,
are
destroying
they
the only person you can destroy.
But are they really that invested, spending millions of dollars in some cases, not to attack Trump, but to attack a Haley or a Ron DeSantis? I understand why any of those individuals would say, want to be running for second, they want to be vice president, and maybe 4 years from now be the president. But all of the people who are donating millions and millions of dollars, is it just in case of the eventuality or the possibility that Donald Trump might have to drop out because of his legal troubles?
Yeah, I think it's that possibility, or again, the distant sliver of a chance that you could ride and upset a win in Iowa, New Hampshire to some greater success. Look, a lot of news is happening every day. We don't know what things are going to be like a year from now. Donald Trump could die suddenly. Things could happen. It's not crazy to leave your hat in the ring in an unlikely eventuality. And in that eventuality, the person you got to defeat is not, in fact, Trump, if you're DeSantis or Haley, but it's each other and Ramaswamy. So it's not irrational for them to be spending a lot of money against each other. There is the VP pick potential. Frankly, I don't think there's any way in the world Trump would pick DeSantis as his VP, because Trump seems to loathe DeSantis and has disparaged him so frequently, doesn't want him. Yeah,
you're not going to want a meatball.
No.
A man that you described as a meatball as
him
number
picking
2.
Haley also seems extremely unlikely,
Why?
although the fact that I don't think there's a lot of love lost between them.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't think he likes her.
Yeah, but he doesn't like anybody. But he does have the ability. It doesn't seem like he was over the moon about Mike Pence, I got to say.
Well,
but that was a practical decision. It was, let's get the evangelicals on board. Now there's some question about whether or not Trump needs anybody to help him rally the troops. He's compared to the rest of the field, so popular. But Nikki Haley does help him ward off some of the accusations of being misogynistic, not liking people of color. It helps the ticket look better and him being able to put himself forward as a modern contemporary candidate.
I fully expect him to make a diversity pick for this slot. A Tim Scott, perhaps, maybe Nikki Haley. A lot of people talk about the South Carolina governor.
So then what's the point?
Noem.
What's the point of spending millions of dollars in attack ads against the second and third place people if there's a real possibility in your eyes that he's going to pick a guy who already dropped out of the race?
Yeah, again, it's for the possibility of Trump somehow not being the candidate for some reason, which is not very likely, but could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other part that is curious to me is that we're talking about super PACs here, which have the ability to do these independent expenditures where they say, hey, the candidate directed me to do this. Obviously, if you're the Ron DeSantis super PAC, then Ron DeSantis is going to get, associated with whatever attack ad you would do against Donald Trump. But there is this ability to have these independent organizations running attack ads against Donald Trump without it being tied to a given candidate. So again, it is curious to me, what are the actual incentives of the people who are giving money to these groups to say, I am so invested in a Nikki Haley over Ron DeSantis or the other way around, but I'm not invested at all in disrupting Donald Trump's ability to be the candidate. I mean, what is motivating the decision making here, where they're not all basically going to be the same on some level in terms of protecting the Republican status quo?
I'm sure there are Republican donors giving a lot of money to those candidates who basically take the view that they don't think Trump can win again, or they think a different candidate will be more likely to defeat Biden.
Which polls reflect.
Which polls do, in fact, reflect. Polls reflect Nikki Haley doing the best in a matchup of all the candidates against Joe Biden. So I'll give her money in kind of a naive hope that helps her become the candidate without even an awareness that she's mostly spending it against DeSantis.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what seems so convoluted here. I don't know.
I mean, the path to knocking Trump out of this position, it feels real impossible.
You mentioned before we started recording that the Koch brothers have...
Yes, the Charles Koch network. Charles Koch, obviously a billionaire and a donor to many Republican causes in the past, entered the public's consciousness during like the Tea Party 2010 political movement, where they were very involved in getting Republican candidates, wanting them to run on lower taxes, less regulation, kind of libertarian sort of values. They are not big fans of Trump, never were.
Because?
Because, frankly, I think they don't think on taxes and regulation, and they want free trade, free markets, all those kinds of things.
So the populist
things
that got him
elected. He was going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Now, that said, they're for non-interventionism. They have not been supportive of neoconservatism. Some thinkers and writers and commentators affiliated with their network took a very kind of in line with us view of Russia, Ukraine as a libertarian. So it's not surprising they would have that view. They have endorsed Nikki Haley. This is the candidate of the Koch network. And I should disclose that I also write for Reason Magazine, which in the past has received money from this network, libertarian fellow travelers, et cetera. So I am fairly familiar with their contributions to political dialogue. They've endorsed Haley. I think that's interesting. I think they see her as again, the candidate most likely to win, who does share a lot of their values on the economic stuff. She has not populist urgings on those subjects. Of course, she is the most hawkish of all the Republican candidates running, which is not so in line with their professed values. But interesting nonetheless.
Interesting nonetheless. All right, stick around. We'll have more Rising for you right after this.